Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt, joined by Dr. Michael Oren, Israel's former ambassador to the United States, also a former deputy minister in the Netanyahu government. Good morning, Dr. Oren. Congratulations to you and all of Israel on a successful preemptive strike on Hezbollah. Has there been any criticism of Israel for that action?
Yeah, from me.
Explain, please. Not enough? Not soon
So
enough?
you may want to hold up your congratulations. I have a lot of reservations about that operation. A lot of them. Yeah, it was a great feat of military prowess. Certainly, 100 airplanes in the sky, basically interdicted Hezbollah's attempt to send some rockets into central Israel. All that's great. Um, and it may have helped convince Mr. Sinwar that he doesn't have a military option because the head of Hamas was hoping for a war to break out between Iran, Hezbollah, and Israel that would have relieved pressure on him and put more pressure on Israel to reach a favorable hostage release deal that he's not going to get. That all that's good. Here's the downside, and it's a huge downside. Okay, Israel broadcast to the Middle East, to the world that it feared getting into a full scale war with Hezbollah. It backed down. Is Israel reacted when there was a threat on Tel Aviv, but we've had an ongoing daily threat to the northern part of Israel for the last 10 and a half months, and 100 warplanes haven't taken up to the sky. So it created a situation in Israel where the people of the north feel once again abandoned. They feel that the northern Israeli life is cheaper than Israeli life in Tel Aviv, and they're deeply, deeply disappointed and embittered by it. And guess what? We've gone back to the daily horrific routine of being shelled on my phone, on a pretty much a hourly basis. I get the red alerts that tell me when rockets and drones are striking in northern Israel. It is continued unabated. So what exactly we did? Yeah, we averted a larger regional conflagration, but don't let anybody tell you that we averted a regional conflagration because guess what? We've been in one for the last 10 months.
Now,
And
Dr.
we
Oren,
don't know. At
I
the
don't
end of the
disagree.
day,
I don't disagree with anything you've
last point,
said, but I go ahead. Last point.
last point is Hezbollah remains deployed along the northern border, right up to the fence. Nobody in Israel is going back to those border communities as long as Hezbollah is sitting there.
I get that. I get that. Here's my not a counter argument, my observation. Tonight, Dana Bash sits down with Kamala Harris. I would like her. I've listed the 15 questions I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, was Israel acting within its right when it struck Hezbollah preemptively? Then I wanted to ask if, because I assume the vice president is going to say yes, then, if that's the case, is Israel justified in acting preemptively against Iran? And if Iran attacks Israel again, ought Israel to destroy Cargill and oil production facilities? I think in the context of American politics, the strike on Hezbollah set up a very interesting situation in terms of what this candidate believes, because I think she'll be the most anti-Israel president in the history of the Jewish state. I know you don't have to comment on that, but that's what I firmly believe. And I want her on record on whether or not she really does believe Israel has a right to defend itself, because she said that. How do you think she would answer those questions?
I think when in doubt, duck. I think there's creative ways you can get around the question, saying Israel has a right to defend itself, certainly, but we're going to work tirelessly to ensure that the situation in the Middle East does not escalate, and that we're going to bring various parties to the negotiating table, and we're going to rely on diplomacy.
But then the follow up should be, but Israel acted last weekend. Were they justified in doing so? Because I don't think you disagree with me. You were justified in doing so. They were going to crush Tel Aviv.
Yeah, we were more than justified. We had a great casus belli. We could have carried it much further, and we didn't. And we allowed all of northern Israel to go back under shell fire as if nothing had happened. And there's been no real. We may have deterred Hezbollah from trying to strike at Tel Aviv just now, but certainly didn't deter it from striking at a major share of Israel's territory and population. So that's my reservation. I think I've made that clear. I don't know what Kamala Harris is going to say. I think it's very hard to gainsay Israel's right to preempt last week. I think there's going to be a harder case to say that we have a right to preempt Iran's nuclear program. Certainly, I question that should be asked to any presidential candidate. Does the United States put every option on the table, including a military option, to prevent Iran from acquiring military nuclear capabilities, period?
We certainly have the forces in the region to assist Israel in accomplishing that mission right now. Dr. Oren, I'd like you to stick around for a couple extra seconds because I listened to Nadav Eyal talk to Dan Senor this week, and he talked about the North and the political problem it generates. And I want to go back to that because it's a reality that not many Americans are aware of, that the north of Israel is empty. It's ghost town after ghost town. And more than 100,000 people have been exiled from their homes for 11 months, and their children aren't going to go to school for the second year in a row. And this is a major issue that has to be resolved. I think it's going to be resolved by a ground invasion of Lebanon. I'll ask Dr. Oren during the break, and I'll play it for you a little bit later in the program. Don't go anywhere, America. Stay tuned to the Hugh Hewitt Show.